I'm told that Abuja is ready for us, so let's quickly cross over to our studios in Abuja, where we have the president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Alhaji Tijani Umar, and of course we have former captain of the D Tigers, someone who has given so much to basketball in Nigeria, Olumide Oyedeji, is also joining us from Abuja. Well, let's thank you for joining us from our Abuja studios. President, let me start off tonight by congratulating you on a successful annual general assembly or annual general meeting, and also congratulate you on the $12 million deal that is coming to basketball in Nigeria. It's for me the huge, very huge progress in getting private sector support for basketball. Talk to us more about this deal. What is the need for Nigerian basketball, particularly our league?
Well, thank you very much, Toyin. Happy New Year to you, Toyin, and everyone out there in the Lagos studio. As you rightly pointed out, we have just concluded the annual general meeting, of the Nigeria Basketball Federation here in Abuja, and that was capped, with a dinner, where awards were given to deserving individuals who contributed to Nigerian basketball, over time. But as you rightly point out also, we have just been finishing the negotiations for a sponsorship deal for Nigerian basketball, especially the national, league here at home, worth about $12 million US. This information was broken during the annual general meeting to try to motivate delegates and prepare them for what is about to happen in Nigeria.
Okay, President, I'm sure you don't want, you told us during the annual General Assembly that you won't probably be giving out the details now, but what can we know about this deal in terms of the clubs that will be playing here, and of course in terms of grassroots development of basketball in Nigeria and the Women's League as well?
Well, the league is all-encompassing. It cuts across, leagues by the type of value it's going to add, but principally it's for the men's league. And that is probably going to inform the change of name very soon. And also, I think if that one is deployed, the next thing that comes after that is a sponsorship package for the national teams, especially the national team for men, the Tigers, and then the national team for women. The sponsorship, the deal worth $12 million will start effectively 2017 to end in 2021, 5 years. And so if you look at it very closely, every year the Federation will have about $2.1 to $2.2 million coming to it to support the league.
Femi Adefeso is here with me and is also itching. He's excited, of course. He wants to ask a few questions as well. Femi.
Yes, Mr. President, you just mentioned the national team. So I want to go further in asking you, what are the plans? We know we are the champions of Africa. Everybody wants to knock us off. Yes, off our perch. The coach, are we still going to see him? What's the plan, really, to ensure that we still are, maintaining our position as number one, on the continent with all of these new developments?
Well, thank you, Femi. Thank you for all the good job you're doing for basketball out there. My immediate, response to you will be that the two teams, the two senior national teams for men and women, will this year be defending well, one of them, the men, will be defending the championship, the Afrobasket championship. And the women will be attempting to win the championship again. For the men, what is so important, like you pointed out, is that we have not yet, tinkered with the coaching group, because generally until anything changes, when something is not broken, you don't need to fix it. That's for the men. For the women, we took a very generous step in 2016 to take them to the Women's Olympic qualifying tournament. Essentially, we had a vision not to attend, not to take them out to qualify for the Olympic Games in Rio, but principally to put them over and above all the other African teams out there in the WOQT so that they can compete against the best teams from Europe, Asia, and around the world, also in there for the qualifiers. Having done that and having also proved themselves capable, it's very clear to us now that this year they stand a very legitimate chance to win the African Championship. You remember also that we took them to Turkey to play 2 back-to-back friendly games against the Turkish national team, which was at that point also traveling to France for the WOQT. So all this was just like an investment for 2017. And I understand that a lot of people misunderstood it and thought that we were struggling to take the team to Rio, and there was no chance whatsoever for the team to win a medal. That was not the plan. The plan was just to get them ready for Afrobasket, and if they win the championship and they stand a great chance to win, then that qualifies us, to something higher again, and then keeps, that team in tournament continuously.
President, I was asking about stakeholders who are aggrieved that they were left out of the annual general meeting, and there are plans to sideline people from elections coming in a few weeks from now, and some other things. Can you talk to us about it? Can you clear the air on all of these allegations for us?
Well, Toyin, thank you very much for this opportunity. Normally, I don't, pay attention to, such rumors. However, I think it's interesting. If anything comes from you, then I think, it deserves, to be discussed. So first and foremost, like I told you, we held the annual general meeting, and the composition of the annual general meeting is very simple. It is made up of the executive board members of the Nigeria Basketball Federation and the 2 delegates from the state basketball associations. Then we also allowed the Nigeria Basketball Referees Council, the Nigeria Basketball Coaches Association, and the Technical Commissioners Association. 1 delegate each, and other members of the executive of those associations as observers, during the General Assembly. And, it's a very simple, straightforward thing. One is, if you are not one of these, members, you are not invited, to the AGM, simple. Secondly, if you are either a chairman or a member of the board of the Nigeria Basketball Federation, but you have breached regulations. For example, there were people who masterminded and participated in the illegal African Basketball League and were under suspension by FIBA Africa and the Nigeria Basketball Federation. And I understand it was 2 of these individuals who approached the registration desk and wanted to register, and of course they were shown papers that they were under suspension, and therefore they were not eligible, to participate in the AGM, given that they were under suspension. I want to give this a perspective. When the suspension was clamped on those who participated or those who took part in the African Basketball League illegally and unlawfully, players were involved, coaches were involved, referees were involved. It was suspension across the board. But during the last board meeting of the Nigeria Basketball Federation in October and November 2016, almost all the players who took part in the banned African Basketball League wrote an apology letter, or they wrote apology letters to the federation. The Federation Technical Committee considered those letters and recommended to the board that those players had demonstrated a lot of remorse, and they definitely explained that they were misguided and they didn't understand the rule. And the rule was simple. There were very clear FIBA rules that for establishing leagues. One of them is that if you are going to establish a league within a country, within the national boundaries of one country, then the basketball federation of that country is the approving authority for that league. And so it is expected that you approach it and then you put your papers, and that federation considers the papers and then ratifies and approves, and then you go ahead and establish your league. If, as in the case of the ABL, your league transcends one country and is going to be an African league, then the teams or clubs, from the countries participating, and those countries, federations of those countries, are under obligation to give you an approval, and the African body will now sign off everything, because they would now provide the technical oversight for that kind of league. For example, you cannot establish a league and then appoint referees for the same league. You cannot establish a league and also, supervise the remuneration of the players in a way that if there is any, issue, who is going to do the arbitration? The arbitration is the part and the role of the federation and the African body that supervise all these things. And therefore, it's impossible for you to be a judge, you be also the jury, and then you're also the hangman in your own case. It's very simple. I still give a simple example. You buy a piece of land in Abuja city center, and you don't go to the development control department for approval, because simply because you have money, you go and start building. It's very likely that you are building a residential accommodation in a place reserved for office accommodation, and so you are going to breach the regulations. And definitely, if you don't go to them and get the approvals and all your papers, and you pay all the stipends or the fees that are applicable, they will let you move forward and warn you, and they put that red X and pull it down. Very simple analogy. And that is the same thing. If you are establishing a league, you must go by the rules. And that was the simple thing. They did not conform to the rules, and we suspended them. And the players came back and wrote apologies, and we apologized. We pardoned them. Referees did that. We pardoned them. And our doors are open. Anybody who infringes on our rules and regulations definitely will have to deal with the consequences. However, if you show remorse and you understand later that you have done something wrong, you get back, and then we definitely are ready to consider you.